Kagavisana Sutta, or the Rhinoceros Horn Sutra, from the Sutra Nipata. Laying aside violence in respect of all beings, not harming even one of them, one should not wish for a son, let alone a companion. One should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Affection comes into being for one who has associations. Following on affection, this misery arises. Seeing the peril which is born from affection, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Sympathizing with friends and companions, one misses one's goal, being shackled in mind. Seeing this fear is acquaintance with friends, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. The consideration which exists for sons and wives is like a very wide-spreading bamboo tree entangled with others. Like a young bamboo shoot not caught up with others, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. As a deer which is not tied up goes wherever it wishes in the forest for pasture, an understanding man, having regard for his independence, should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. In the midst of companions where one is resting, standing, going or wandering, there are requests from others. Having regard for the independence which is not coveted by others, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. In the midst of companions, there are sport, enjoyment, and great love for sons. Although loathing separation from what is dear, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. One is a man of the four quarters and is not hostile, being pleased with whatever comes one's way. A fearless bearer of dangers, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Even some wanderers are not kindly disposed, and also some householders dwelling in a house. Having little concern for the children of others, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Having removed the marks of a householder, like a kovilara tree whose leaves have fallen, a hero, having cut the householder's bonds, should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. If one can obtain a zealous companion, an associate of good disposition, who is resolute, overcoming all dangers, one should wander with him, with elated mind, mindful. If one cannot obtain a zealous companion, an associate of good disposition, who is resolute, then like a king quitting the kingdom which he has conquered, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Assuredly, let us praise the good fortune of having a companion. Friends better than oneself or equal to oneself are to be associated with. If one does not obtain these, then enjoying only blameless things, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Seeing shining bracelets of gold, well made by a smith, clashing together when two are on one arm, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. In the same way, with a companion there would be objectionable talk or abuse for me. Seeing this fear for the future, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. For sensual pleasures variegated, sweet and delightful, disturb the mind with their manifold form. Seeing peril in the strands of sensual pleasure, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. This for me is a calamity and a tumor and a misfortune and a disease and a barb and a fear. Seeing this fear in the strands of sensual pleasure, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Cold and heat, hunger and thirst, wind and the heat of the sun, gadflies and snakes. Having endured all these, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. As an elephant with massive shoulders, spotted, noble, may leave the herds and live as it pleases in the forest, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. It is an impossibility for one who delights in company to obtain even temporary release. Having heard the word of the sun's kinsman, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Gone beyond the contortions of wrong view, arrived at the fixed course to salvation, having gained the way, thinking, I have knowledge arisen in me, I am not led by others. One should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Being without covetousness, without deceit, without thirst, without hypocrisy, with delusion and faults blown away, without aspirations in the whole world, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. One should avoid an evil companion who does not see the goal, who has entered upon bad conduct. One should not oneself associate with one who is intent upon wrong views and is negligent. One should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. One should cultivate one of great learning, expert in the doctrine, a noble friend possessed of intelligence, knowing one's goals, having dispelled doubt. One should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Not finding satisfaction in sport and enjoyment, nor in the happiness which comes from sensual pleasures in the world, and paying no attention to them, abstaining from adornment, speaking the truth, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Leaving behind son and wife and father and mother, and wealth and grain and relatives and sensual pleasures to the limit, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. This is attachment. Here there is little happiness and little satisfaction. Here there is very much misery. This is a hook. Knowing this, a thoughtful man should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Having torn one's fetters asunder, like a fish breaking a net in the water, not returning, like a fire not going back to what is already burned, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. With downcast eye and not foot loose, with sense faculties guarded, with mind protected, not overflowing with defilement, not burning, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Having discarded the marks of a householder, like a coral tree whose leaves have fallen, having gone out from the house wearing the saffron robe, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Showing no greed for flavors, nor not wanton, not supporting others, going on an uninterrupted begging round, not shackled in the mind to this family or that, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Having left behind the 5 hindrances of the mind, having thrust away all defilements, not dependent, having cut off affection and hate, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Having put happiness and misery behind oneself, and joy and dejection already, having gained equanimity, which is purified calmness, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Resolute for the attainment of the supreme goal, with intrepid mind, not indolent, of firm exertion, furnished with strength and power, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Not giving up seclusion and meditation, constantly living in accordance with the doctrine in the world of phenomena, understanding the peril which is in existences, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Desiring the destruction of craving, not negligent, not foolish, learned, possessing mindfulness, having considered the doctrine, restrained, energetic, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Not trembling, as a lion does not tremble at sounds, not caught up with others, as the wind is not caught up in a net, not defiled by passion, as a lotus is not defiled by water, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Wandering victorious, having overcome like a strong-toothed lion, the king of beasts, one should resort to secluded longings, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Cultivating at the right time loving kindness, equanimity, pity, release, and sympathetic joy, unimpeded by the whole world, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. Leaving behind passion, hatred, and delusion, having torn the fetters apart, not trembling at the time of the complete destruction of life, one should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn. People associate with and resort to others for some motive. Nowadays, friends without a motive are hard to find. Wise as to their own advantage, men are impure. One should wander solitary as a rhinoceros horn.